I've been hallucinating since I was 11 years old. I'm 22 now, fresh out of college here in the middle of Wyoming. I got my bachelor's in education with a major in fine arts, which is where this story starts. But unfortunately, not where it ends. I was a sophomore in college when we got medication that would actually work for me. My doctor and I had tried multiple prescriptions before we found the golden ticket. Aripiprazole. Amplify for short. The meds helped a lot. However, they didn't completely quell the hallucinations. I would still see things out of the corner of my eyes or in the shadows of a dark room. With the help of Amplify, they don't scare me. At least, they didn't. I live in a one-bedroom apartment alone. I got the place back in May, right after I graduated and left my claustrophobic dorm room. Anyway, it's now November, meaning I've been living here for 6 months. One of my biggest fears I've had regarding my hallucinations is seeing someone I know deformed and mutilated. I'm also afraid of seeing huge bugs or uncanny animals. Somehow, through some graceful turn of fate, none of them came true. But what I've experienced is much more terrifying. Back in late September, a friend of mine, Delilah, crashed over for the night. She was my roommate in college for 3 out of 4 years. That being said, she knows all about my hallucinations and my issue with the antipsychotics I've been on. As the night was closing in, she asked me if I had an extra set of sheets for the air mattress I was letting her use. I made my way to the bedroom to look for it, as I knew I had one somewhere. I looked in the closet, but there were only old boxes of some crap I had never unpacked. I thought about the space under my bed. Surely it was under there. Where else would I put something I thought I'd never use? I walked to my bed, getting on my knees with the purpose to search. I let my hands hit the cold wood. I tucked my hair behind my ear and tilted my head to be eye level with the blackness in between the box spring and the floor. My eyes wandered through the space until they met with someone else's. Mine. I whipped my head up as quick as my neck would support, banging my head on the metal bars of my bed frame. Delilah called from a couple rooms over asking if everything was all right and if I had found the sheets. I told her everything was fine and that no, I hadn't. Still on my knees, I started at the floor. I rubbed my head with my hand. She was smiling. This was the first time I had hallucinated myself. At the start of October, I got a new and honestly better job. I would be a high school drawing teacher. My students and I would be working mainly with charcoal and graphite. I was extremely excited as this was the job I had always envisioned for myself. I was told the former teacher had to resign. Why, I wasn't too sure of. I was 6 days into my position when I saw it again. I got home around 4 in the afternoon and I was eager to take some sort of power nap. As easy as it may seem, teaching was exhausting. I lay down on my bed. I thought of my day, the kids, and my lunch. This was exactly the life I wanted. I put my phone on my side table, but immediately thought it would be better to charge it as I slept. I dropped my head off the side of my bed, allowing for my hair to touch the floor. It was getting quite long. I felt the charger between my fingers, but as I was bringing it up, I dropped the cable back onto the floor. I turned to look at the charger. I noticed pieces of hair on it that certainly weren't mine. I trailed my eyes down, following the strands. She was peeking out from underneath the bed. I could only see her eyes, but holy crap, were they the worst thing I have ever seen. I turned my whole body back onto the bed. I shut my eyes as tightly as I could, inwardly reminding myself that it wasn't real. It couldn't be real. But she had my eyes. The exact same color and the exact same shape. I counted to 5, taking slow, deep breaths. I hesitantly opened my eyes, looking very carefully to where she had just been. She was gone. I would see her from time to time while at work, or the gym, or anywhere, really. Just quick flashes of her wide smile. Recently, I saw her as I was teaching a class of juniors. I had just started telling them about the art history course I was required to take in college. One of my students piped up and he asked how boring the class had been. I smiled at him, preparing myself to give him the appropriate answer. I looked past him to the back of the room. Usually my hallucinations tend to be vague outlines and silhouettes, no defining features, no nothing, just shapes and shadows. She, however, was not. She stood at my height near the door. I could see her in full. Same hair, same eyes, same nose, mouth, and somehow the exact same clothes I had been wearing that day. A white t-shirt with brown slacks. Her grin was inhumanly large. I stumbled over my response to the student. At that moment, I felt like I had never felt fear before. I was unexplainably scared. But as soon as I blinked, she was gone. I invited Delilah over that upcoming weekend. I couldn't be alone. Not with her. Me. These hallucinations were getting out of control. I scheduled an appointment with my doctor to get my prescription either changed completely or to a higher dosage. When Friday rolled around, I opted to stay in my car that was parked in the teacher lot. No way was I going back into my apartment alone. I stayed there for 2 hours, watching my phone die as I scrolled on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, just anything to keep the other me out of my mind. Delilah texted me around 5:30 that she was on her way. I drove home. I felt insane. What was happening? Why was now the time my meds stopped working? Were they just becoming less effective? My mind raced 1,000 thoughts at once as I pulled up to my apartment. Delilah was outside, a smile on her face. "How are the kids today?" I smiled weakly in response. I unlocked the door and the two of us walked inside. After some catching up, I got to the point. "You know how I see things?" Delilah quirked her head as if confused. "Yeah, are they getting worse?" I guess I'm not too sure what's going on with them," I said, embarrassment creeping its way up my cheeks. She nodded in understanding. "Here, let me make you a drink. It's the weekend anyway." She trailed off, her voice getting softer as she stood up and walked through the hallway and into the kitchen. I sat there in uneasy silence. My appointment is in a week, which isn't soon enough. I felt like the meds were working, but obviously they're not. Why did it have to be me? Why couldn't I hallucinate a cute puppy following me around, or a regular person that wasn't me? Delilah came back from the kitchen, 2 glasses in hand. When our eyes met, her face twisted with confusion. "Hey, how did you get in here so fast?" she asked, setting down a glass on either side of the coffee table. "I never left the couch," I replied, taking my drink in hand. She looked even more confused. "What? I just passed you in the hall." She chuckled as she said this. I saw something move behind her. It was me. No, this wasn't a hallucination. This was a real, tangible person. "You know it's not nice to lie," she laughed. "Delilah," I whispered. "Aren't you going to try your drink? I just picked what you had in your fridge, so I'm sure you'll like it." "Delilah," I said, as the other me came closer to her. "And I do know you like your alcohol if your 21st says anything." "Delilah, please," I begged, wishing she'd stop talking. She did, and finally looked behind her. She could see her too. With no warning, the other me brought her hands out, one hand at the top of Delilah's head, the other on her jaw. I screamed out, and so did Delilah. The other me smiled, a small, menacing curve of the lips. I closed my eyes, terrified of what was about to happen. In the dark of my eyelids, I heard it. The snap. I opened my eyes in a fit of panic. Delilah was splayed out across the floor of my living room. My drink was staining my carpet. In my fear, I had dropped the glass. Her head was facing the ceiling, but so was her back. I felt sick to my stomach, trying to keep the bile from making its way up. I quickly darted my eyes through the layout, trying to find the other me. I never did. It's been some time since all of this went down. I called the police, and they've started a whole investigation. And although I don't think they fully believed me, someone else's fingertips were found on Delilah. I've started cleaning out my apartment, moving some stuff to my parents. I can't stay in this apartment. I just can't. I ended up moving my bed to another corner of my room during the process. In the mess of dust and old tattered blankets that have been wasting away under my bed, I saw a folded set of sheets. This leads me to today. I saw her peeking through my window a few hours ago. Why won't she leave me alone? I don't know what I did to deserve it, but please, God, I hope she goes away. I just want her to go away. Thanks so much for listening, guys. A quick shout out to my patrons. Kevin Kess, Sabiel Eclipse, 055555, Cormac Wells, Amara, Matthew Steiner, Cupcake Hips, Alonzo, Mr. Sankofa, Michael Milburn, Kozak, Icy Narrates, Jesse Hartley, Eric Cifuentes, Andreas Anderson London, Lawrence Wallen, Geek Sanctuary, Melissa Perez, and this guy. That is someone's actual username. I love that. Thanks again so much for watching, guys. If there's anything you would like me to pray for, I would love to know how I can be praying for you. I hope you have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video.